Thank you very much for coming. This is the 10th anniversary of the final report of the Minnesota Without Poverty Commission. The commission was one of those entities we didn't even need a paragraph to explain because the title of the commission explained its duties. Minnesota created a commission in 2006, a legislative commission on ending poverty in Minnesota by the year 2020. Very precise, long timeline so we could accomplish things. Came out of some people in the faith community asking the state to take seriously its moral obligation to care for our neighbors. It was appointed by the legislature and by Governor Pawlenty. There were 10 Democrats, 10 Republicans. There were 10, equal number from both House and Senate. And we put together, I think, a very solid report. Representative Carlos Mariani and myself, John Marty, were the co-chairs of the commission. I think we were proud of the report we did. And that gave us 11 years to move forward and address poverty in Minnesota. We've had 10 years of very little progress. The poverty rates back then in 2008 are about the same as they are now. About 1 in 10 Minnesotans lives in actual poverty. About 2 in 10 live below the 200% of the poverty line that most people, most experts would say the level in which somebody can support themselves without being in trouble, without worrying where food is coming from, without worrying about whether they have a roof over their head. So in 10 years without making progress, we decided, there's only 1 year till the year 2020, we decided to introduce a bold package of changes that we hope will move forward. If they do, it would take a big whack out of poverty, bring a lot of people up to not just the poverty line, but the 200% of the poverty line. We'd have 4 bills, separate bills we'll have individual authors speak to, but they would, as a package, make a big deal. A phase-in up to over 5 years, 4 years, phase-in up to $16 an hour minimum wage, a doubling of Minnesota's working family tax credit, eliminating the waiting list and enhancing the sliding fee child care assistance program so workers get enough money to live on and so kids get quality child care. And finally, a $300 a month increase in the Minnesota Family Investment Program. These all cost money. We are providing in here the omnibus bill that Carlos and I are carrying as one that would pay for them. We would call closing a loophole in a federal Social Security tax. It's not exactly that, but the federal government taxes Social Security on all of our wages up to $133,000. Above that, they don't collect anything. We figure if it's a flat tax, the least we could do is collect it from everyone, so we would gather that money as a state tax on those over $133,000. That would be more than sufficient to cover these proposals. We think this is about time. Minnesotans are not in doubt about whether we should take care of each other. A national poll, the only one I've ever seen on this subject, asked if people agreed with the statement, as a country, we should make sure people who work full-time are able to earn enough to keep their families out of poverty. It wasn't exactly close. 94% of the public agreed with that. Only 2 or 3% thought that was not a fair statement. We think that this package would help people who are working and struggling to make ends meet, help them make ends meet and move out of poverty, and people who are on welfare would help them with the first increase in 30 years.